So I've been on the fence about replacing this car as my daily driver for the past year or so now. This car has 202,000 miles on it, and I've been looking at a 2023 Civic Sport Hatchback with the 6-speed manual as a replacement for this car, and kind of been on the fence about it for a year or so now. I was almost going to wait till 2024 to see if they made any changes or improvements to it and get a 2024, but there's one video I watched on YouTube that really made the decision easy for me, and that is a video by Zach Pradel. His YouTube channel is Shooting Cars, and he uploaded a video of the 2023 Civic Sport Hatchback 6-speed manual model as the best car to buy in 2023. And after doing a bunch of research to see what's out there, especially in a manual transmission, I'd have to agree. So this is my 2023 Civic Sport Hatchback with the 2-liter naturally aspirated 6-speed manual. So I would have to agree with Zach that this is the best car you can buy for the money in 2023 that has a manual transmission and that will be a reliable daily driver for the long term. So if you haven't watched his full in-depth review on this car, that's not what I'm going to do. He does an awesome job going over the car, and his enthusiasm for the main points that sell him on this car and what sold me on this car is the drivetrain for sure. It has a K20 C2 engine and a 6-speed manual transmission, all for the MSRP of $25,800. If you're thinking to yourself right now, well, why didn't you go for the SI? The SI is only $2,500 more, and you get all this extra stuff, more power, limited slip diff, and whatnot. I'll make a separate video on 2 major things that killed that car for me as far as it being my new daily driver. So stay tuned for a future upload on that. The first big killer for me on the SI was the price. You can't really find them at a dealer for MSRP, and you're talking a lot of, even if you pay MSRP for them, you're talking $34,000 out the door for one of those cars with taxes and fees and everything added on. So that was just a lot of money for me to justify for a Civic that I was going to be driving every day, putting a ton of miles on and racking up miles on through the winter. So, but there was one other major design flaw with that car that will be in the video I post, so stay tuned with it. So the greatest part about this car really has not been discussed much online because most reviewers wouldn't care about it. There's not much coverage of this car and this spec in general on YouTube, with the 6-speed manual especially, because all the reviewers generally go right for the sport touring model. But this is genuinely the one spec we all can afford. Let's be honest, car prices are insane, cost of living is insane now. You had 9% inflation last year at one point. It's still over 5% inflation in 2023. Real wages are down, so we're trying to find the best value for the money, and this is definitely, in my opinion, the best value for the money. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of the higher end trims, but it's got everything you need to get back and forth to work, to commute, to put miles on, and be worry-free. So taking a quick look inside, one thing I will say is I thought the stripes on the seat were really going to bother me watching the reviews. They're much darker in person. They might show up lighter on the camera, but they're really not that bright, so they don't bother me too much. The seats are actually extremely comfortable compared to my 8th gen Civic LX Sport. They're much softer, even though they don't have adjustable lumbar support like people complain about. For my build, they fit me great, and they're extremely, extremely comfortable, in my opinion. I'll get into more in-depth reviews with this car about the interior, things I like, things I don't like, things I think they cut cost on way more than they should have, and some specific comparisons back to my 8th gen Civic, direct comparisons with certain elements there. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the best part about this car that is not talked about on YouTube, because it is very hard to find in 2023. Not only is it a 2-liter, not only is it naturally aspirated, not only is it a K-series, not only is it a 6-speed manual, but when I was first researching this car in 2022, there was one big major thing that made it not really that appealing to me, and that is the fact that the Honda website listed the K20 C2 in this car as direct injected, and the 1.5 turbo is direct injected. So direct injection by design does bring problems with keeping intake valves clean. Yes, it may get you better miles per gallon. Yes, you may be able to run 87 octane with a turbo with direct injection, but for reliability, it's not nearly as good as the proven port injection in the manifold. So In 2022, the website spec, up until about last month in March 2023, the Honda website specifications and features for this 2023 Civic Sport Hatchback was that this engine was direct injected. And they've actually just recently updated their website to show it as multi-point injection. Because if you take a look back on the rear side of the engine, see that white clip down there? That is the fuel line connection, and that silver part below it is a traditional fuel rail with fuel injectors in the intake manifold. So that is technology that's been around forever. It's surprising to find it in a base model car these days. They're usually all direct injected. The fact that you have fuel spraying on the back of your intake valves before it goes in the combustion chamber is ideal to keep your intake valves clean and basically maintenance free for the life of this car. I'll be honest, Civic LX Sport over there, my 8th gen, 202,000 miles, never touched the injectors, never did anything to the engine more than a valve adjustment and oil changes throughout the whole time I've owned it. So the fact that this car is port injected, not direct injected, naturally aspirated, it's a K series, you get the 6-speed manual, is a huge win for a daily driver in my opinion. That is what sold me on this car. If you're looking to get one of these, I recommend you go on the Honda website and build your spec. Just build a stock Sport, and then at the end of the build you'll get to a section that says see inventory, and when you go to look at inventory, just check that like every other day, every day. Make it a habit to keep checking it until you see a new color pop up at a local dealer to you, and call them instantly. That's exactly what I did. I saw this car pop up, I called them. They actually had no idea they were even getting it in. The Honda website beat them before they even got notified that they were getting allocated this car. I made the guy check. He came back and said, yes, it looks like we actually are getting one. I left a deposit. So how much did I pay for this car? MSRP. The SI and the Type R are definitely not obtainable, at least in my area, MSRP. Every dealer I've gone to has at least a $5,000 markup, or useless packages that are just literally just a markup, you know, $2,500 wheel and tire protection packages. They do the glass coat, which is $1,000 ceramic coating that the dealer does, which is an absolutely awful ceramic coating. They probably do more damage to the paint applying it than it's actually worth. And then other things like random line items, you can't understand what you're getting, marked up another couple $1,000. That's all going to be in the video I post about the main reasons I didn't buy the SI. So like I said, subscribe to stay tuned for that video. But my initial impressions of this car, I only have 70 miles on it right now. I am not going to really drive it much until I sell this car. The things I'm going to do with it right away are get the front hood and the front bumper PPF'd. I've never had a new car before, and I feel like this car would show touch-up paint for rock chips extremely noticeably as opposed to the silver. I was going to go with silver for this new car, but they got this one in first, so I went with the Sonic Gray. It also matches my wife's CRV, so I think it's kind of cool. So taking a look in the back, you guys are all familiar with it. I did get some accessories with this. Like I said, I got this car at MSRP. These cars are definitely more obtainable at MSRP than the SI or the Type R. I'll put a picture of the window sticker up right now. After destination and the Sonic Gray Pearl color, you're looking at $27,400 before taxes. So you had the taxes on, you had the miscellaneous fees from the dealership. You're looking at just under 30 grand to get this car out the door, which is one of the best values around there right now. Out the door pricing on SIs is close to 40 grand at most dealerships you go to right now. So you get the nice wheels on this car. The Civic hatchback compared to the sedan actually has this nice black side skirt already in the design. I actually had no idea about that until I actually got the car. I do plan to do possibly an HPD spoiler on this just to make it look a little bit less like an egg on the rear, but I'm not sure yet. I kind of do like the little bit of lip that comes from the factory there. Like I said, I'm going to make tons of videos of this car, going over the things that I love, going over the things that really bother me, things I think they cheaped out on, cut costs on, and all these are noticeable to me only driving this car 70 miles so far. So I'm going to make a separate video on that. But here's just another quick look around the car. All in all, yes, I have some gripes with this car. It's not the perfect spec. You know, I would change some things about it. I would pay maybe a little bit more to enhance certain things about it. to make it the perfect daily driver for me. But in 2023, it's a sad reality of we have came to with the availability of manual cars and something that's reliable. There really, like Zach Pradel said in his video, there really is just this car and the Mazda 3 with a naturally aspirated 6-speed manual transmission you can choose from. You know, Subaru Impreza's losing its manual for 2024, and the Toyota Corolla lost its manual for 2023, unless you want to pay $50,000 for the GR. So I can keep reiterating this car is probably the best value, being that you can get it for MSRP without fighting the dealers too much. So the only extra things I paid for over MSRP are a couple accessories that they deemed necessary and wouldn't take off the car. And I'm okay with paying it. Of course, I had to pay a little bit inflated of a price on it for them to make a little money on it. But so I got the black lug nuts on the wheels with a black wheel lock. I got the all-weather mats that they refused to not include with the car, because I really want to replace those with like a WeatherTech equivalent full protection mat and whatnot. And this is kind of how they look on the front. The thing that bothers me about them is they don't cover anywhere near your gas pedal or brake pedal. It's all the carpet right there, so they're kind of pointless in my opinion, being that I do live in New York. You're going to get salt all over your carpet if you run the OEM all-weather mats. But so in addition to all that, they did throw in the trunk tray as well. That was a nice add-on. I think it's I'm kind of glad I have that. Yes, lots of videos to come with this car. Thanks guys for watching. Stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one.